Hello. Meet Alex. Alex is healthy. Alex is new. Today is the first day of its life. Alex has been programmed with just enough information to survive. You know, like how money works, how to find transportation, how to buy food, the local language, how to tie their shoes, how to breathe. You know, all the stuff. Alex is an adult with no identity other than a name. Alex can be male or female, you pick. This is the first day of the rest of Alex's life. They pull a piece of paper out of their pocket. It says, Instructions. One line follows the heading. Go live your life. Where did they come from? Why are they here? Who sent them? They just showed up. They look around. What do they do now? The instructions aren't very specific. They have no agenda or vendetta, no direction, no moral compass. They only know they are to go live, whatever that means. Do stuff, I guess. If something hurts them, that's bad. If something helps them, that's good. They will discover all the things as they go. They may ask, why is my name Alex? I mean, there's nothing else there to question at the moment. But they do know their name, at least. At least they know who they are. Right? I've been thinking about identity again. Your entire life is an illusion. Crazy, right? Not in an exit the matrix kind of way. I mean, right now, your entire life is the sum of all your collected memories. Everything you know, everyone you love, everything you've worked for is one head injury away from evaporation. You, gone, forever. You trip, hit your head, and wake up with no memory. Your whole life never happened as far as you can tell. Terrifying, no? You are one car wreck away from erasure. Death, of course, is kind of the same thing. But let's stick to amnesia. It's scary to be so close to just poof from existence. Everything you know, everyone you love, everything you've worked for, everything you value is a construct of your imagination. That is, your connection to all these things is imaginary. You, the people in your environment, objects, all these material things certainly have physical existence, but your connection to them is an illusion. Forget your connections and they cease to exist. Consider for a second just how fragile these connections are. Really let it set in. Let's play a game. Think of the most important thing in your life. Your wife or girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever. Your vehicle, your job and its title, your bank account, your cat, your pet rock, maybe that big-ass diamond in your collection that you love so much, or maybe your child or children. Imagine the love you have for these things as a connection you have to them. Now, for just a second, imagine you never knew that thing or person. You don't miss it. You don't even know what they look like. It's just a thing out in the world. You have no connection to it. Now, for 1 second, apply this to everything you consider important to you. You have nothing and no one in your life. No God, no country, no favorite color, nothing. Utterly disconnected from the world you knew. This is the point of zero. What would you do if you wake up like this? Now, we go the other direction. Death is something we all fear. Some more than others. What happens when we die? Well, I don't know, and neither do you. Why does death scare us? We don't know what will happen, so we don't know if it will be good, bad, or nothing. Better the devil you know, am I right? But there's more to the fear of death. What do you have to lose? The more you have to lose, the more you hold on to life. Things that you have to lose are things you have to live for. If you have a reason to live, you have something to lose, and thus you fear and avoid death. The more you have to lose, the more terrifying the darkness. Are you ready to die? A dumb question. It's like saying, are you prepared for that which you cannot plan? In life we have built for ourselves a house of things to lose. In the beginning, we start life as infants, empty brains, know-nothings. As we grow and travel our tiny lives, we imagine the threaded tapestry we weave is seen and admired by unknown entities. When we die, we hope someone cares about our efforts, or that we did enough to justify our existence. What if your beautiful tapestry representing all your work in life is burned right before your eyes, while someone stands there laughing at you? Your whole life gone as fast as a styrofoam cup can melt in a campfire. It's gone, and so are you. As if you are, and always were, nothing. A forgotten memory. What do you live for? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? I've asked this question before and have a theory on this if you watch my Returning to Zero series. Today, however, imagine you've achieved the point of zero and have no chains of identity to speak of. What now? Who are you? What's your name? You don't really have one. Your name is an identifier used in language, a series of sounds. That's it. But not quite. Names identify, but they also represent our earned reputation. They are our word, our bond. The term name represents who you are. The words of our names don't have any concrete reality. In truth, nothing really does. Matter is energy. Atoms don't actually touch one another. Your body is mostly empty space. Your name, who you are, the whole of your being, is imaginary. Your name, who you are as a person, that collection of imaginary connections to what you care about, is fully contained in your brain, an illusion of permanence with the hardness of empty space. Now, whether you believe this or not is irrelevant. It's the hard reality that doesn't care about your feelings. But if you do accept this fact as it is and internalize it, how might this awareness affect your life going forward? I've been wrestling with these questions for years. Truth is, internalizing reality isn't comfortable, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. Our lives are fleeting. We all know the saying, you can't take it with you. Don't work so hard. You should focus on what really matters, like family and friends. Ever heard this from some well-meaning schmuck? Well, I must retort, Mr. Self-Righteous. Guess what? You can't take your friends with you either. Your relationships are as fleeting as your other goals and just as imaginary. Again, one fucking head injury, and your friends are meeting you for the first time. Have you ever seen a person with an anoxic brain injury? Oh, they move and stuff. They breathe. They sigh. They look around, but they might as well be dead. Anyone who claims something is really important, and thus you shouldn't focus on what you really care about, well, for one thing, they haven't watched my videos. But secondly, they fail to understand that value is the very concept of relativity. Let me ask you a math question. Say you have a math test and you look at problem number 1. You read x equals and a blank space to write your answer. When your equation is x equals blank, what's the answer? This is equivalent to saying something is really, really important. I call it the x equals fallacy. Your family and friends are really, really important, huh? Well, important relative to what? There is no value in a vacuum. The very concept of value only applies when you are comparing something to a scale of some kind. So, how valuable are your friends? It depends. Would you sacrifice your friends to save your family? Now you have a question of value. You are deciding if your friends are more or less valuable to you than your family. But you can't say they are just really, really important. This statement makes no sense. Now the truth is uncomfortable, and ignorance is bliss. But once you see it, what do you do with it? I was once religious. Religion builds imaginary constructs and structures to give answers to questions that need one. For example, where do we go when we die? What is good and bad? What does this coincidence mean? When the sky strikes the tree with the big white flashy thing, does this mean the sky is mad at me? Religion answers these questions regardless if the answers are correct. Religion makes us feel better. It gives us certainty, makes us part of something bigger than ourselves. But what if you look at the fine print of your holy book and read, "My name is Bob, and I made this shit up"? Suddenly, you have to answer these questions yourself. Suddenly, you feel utterly alone, no matter how many people you have around you. You feel abandoned, betrayed, lied to. So, what do you do if you learn everything you thought you knew was a lie? Well, for me, after flipping out for a couple years, I set out to answer all these questions that determine what I do and why I do it. The biggest problem was, I didn't know who I was anymore. The identity created during my formative years was constructed in the foundation of religious lies. So there I am, completely confused and lost. I'm not interested in seeking a new religion. I know better than to listen to people who claim to know a deity, who don't know the world is round, that bacteria exists, and stars can't fall to Earth. These were ignorant people who didn't know better, who wrote these holy books. So you must come to understand, no one has the magic answer. What I concluded from my wanderings through psychological hell is, I have no identity. Identity is merely a collection of what I call chains of identity. Artificial success objectives we eventually assume without question that dictate our behavior. You must be successful, a father, a family man, a good Christian, Muslim, citizen, soldier. You must dedicate yourself to X, Y, and Z. None of these chains of identity existed at some point in your life. Understanding that they are all artificial doesn't necessarily mean you must stop doing them. Perhaps they are valuable in other ways. Your job makes money. Don't quit that thing if it's valuable in other ways. But you may find they are pursued for the sake of vanity. Perhaps you should quit some of them, but understanding the true nature of things allows you to see everything for what it really is. Imaginary. You aren't special. You are one fuck-up away from losing everything you've built. Your entire life is an illusion of imaginary connections to your local environment. This is the truth. It's uncomfortable. It's not nice. Ignorance is bliss. There are good things to this, however. The rules you thought you had to follow only apply if actual consequences follow. You now have permission to push new limits. You don't have to see yourself as somebody. You aren't anybody. You have no name. Back to Alex. I've decided he's a male. It just makes things easier. He starts with nothing. He must learn the rules and customs of his local community to avoid consequences and gain positive benefit. He will interact, do interesting things, and explore his world. He lives at the point of zero. But he asks himself, why am I called Alex? Why not a different name? Why do I have a name at all? Have you ever asked yourself this question? Do it now, and understand what isn't a name. It represents a solid you. It identifies you. Without a name, who are you? Nobody. Your name, your connections to your environment, that which you value, all are imaginary. You have no name, identity, no value. You are not, have not been, and never will be somebody. You will die alone. You will leave your friends behind. Who are you? You are nobody. You have no name. This is easy to say and difficult to internalize. Why get out of bed in the morning if it's all pointless? Alex has nothing to live for, yet he lives anyway. Why? Well, why not? The assumption of the "why do you live" question is that there must be something to live for. These things to live for are, again, what I call chains of identity. You've picked these chains up along your life's path. There was a time in your life when you had nothing to live for. That time was infancy. When you were first born, all you knew was you were cold and hungry. You had nothing to live for. You had no name. This big, warm person was shoving a breast in your mouth. That's all you knew. That's the baseline for every single one of us. But life gets more concrete as we get older. Eventually, we fear the unknown and must be successful. I have news for you. You have every right to fail. What does it matter anyway? Fuck it. Go do it and fail on purpose and see what happens. Be aware of physical consequences. Don't be a moron. But own your failures, as if to say, I had the balls to do this, and I gave it a shot. Who knows? Life might reward you. I don't care how successful you are, and nor does anyone else. How much money you got? Michael Bloomberg spends more than your entire net worth on his dining room table. Are you a fast runner? Usain Bolt would smoke you blindfolded while giving you a head start. Are you super smart? Well, my internet connection makes me smarter than you. Are you a very special person with a very super special job title? How very special you are. Good for you. Guess what? The homeless guy you passed this morning has no boss or anyone to answer to. He's better than you. To sum this up, whatever you do for vanity's sake, just stop now. Someone is better than you in some way and you can't win. Just stop. You'll be glad you did. You will eventually be disappointed and a failure, a has-been. You are nothing, nor am I. I have no name, and neither do you. You think the trappings of life, recognition, and wealth give you substance. You are no different, no better, than a poor homeless orphan in Central Africa getting raped by his pimp. We all start at the point of zero. What if we could live this way our entire lives? Live as if we had nothing to lose. Imagine it for a second. No motives driven by vanity or bullshit. Back to the head injury. We can all die at any time. Our lives are the summation of our collected memories, which can evaporate in a moment. Should we fear death? I say no. Imagine death is exactly like your experience before your birth. Do you remember this? No? Me neither. Get the picture? Death puts life in perspective. Yes, nothing really matters. Yes, you are nobody. You will never be somebody. Accept this. Internalize it. Be nobody, on purpose, and you will see life correctly. Be nothing to no one, since this is exactly what you are. Start over and see what there is to do. Do it, then do something else, rinse, repeat. Carry nothing with you. Live without the baggage of false expectations. Do great things, knowing full well there is no greater point to it. Save cats from burning buildings, paint pictures of your face and burn them immediately. Buy that car and drive it because you wanted to. Hike 3 days to a mountaintop just to see a sunset. Feel the awe of that evening with full force of emotion and shed a tear at the beauty. You are nothing, and never have been, and never will be. Learn this. Be this. Embrace the emptiness and obscurity that you have always been. Become the void and absorb into nothingness. It's not comforting, but it's real. It's true. Until you return to the point of zero, you will live the lie like everyone else. It's not easy, but it can be done. You have no name. Think about it. Thanks for listening.